welcome to the lighter side of the dark side. It's your bi-weekly freak show here on Renegade Radio, also Steel Waves Radio, iHeartRadio, Podchaser, Podcast Addict, Spotify, Stitcher, everywhere you listen to podcasts. It's the Dark Mark Show. I'm Dark Mark, the goth comedian, and it's the most wonderful time of the year. It's Halloween. Halloween's coming up. It's October, and we're doing our. Apparently, this week turned out to be writer-director week because we had Destiny Soria on. You might have just listened to that show if you're listening on radio. The writer-director of Christmas Slasher. And speaking of Christmas Slashers, we have my co-host, everybody's favorite vegan heavy metal DJ, Hannah Bach.
Hey guys, happy spooky season.
And Hannah, last year you said this person was your favorite guest of all time.
Yes, and we keep in contact. So.
Oh, okay.
Still love Dustin.
He's got so many movies going on. You never can tell. Every week it's a new movie, but he's doing a pandemic series. He just shot Amityville Clown House. He's about to do Amityville in the Hood, and all sorts of other things. It's our friend, writer, director, and rapper, Dustin Ferguson.
Hey, thank you for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
Hey there. Happy spooky season to you.
Happy spooky season to you, too. I'm so excited. It's finally that time of year.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be a weird time of year this year, but it's gonna be fun. Everybody can listen to the podcast and watch scary movies and whatever else you want to do. You know, and everybody's wearing masks, so you know it's a pretty good season. I actually had to move my creepy microphone stand because Hannah was freaking Hannah out last time. But
yeah, because I couldn't tell what it was. It kind of looked like a mix between like a slab of meat and then one of those mistletoes, like smashed together.
Well, it's yeah. So, but I don't want to scare Hannah, but let's scare everybody with some commerce real quick. We've got sponsors. If you go to audibletrial.com/DMS, once again, audibletrial.com/DMS, you get a free book and a free Audible original, or 2 free books, or 2 free Audible originals, and a 30-day free trial at Audible. You're stuck in the house, you got nothing to do, listen to a scary story. They got everything. They actually have a play of Dracula performed by Tim Curry, Alan Cumming, and an all-star cast. And they also have the Audible original of Sandman, which Neil Gaiman narrates and James McAvoy plays Dream. There's all sorts of crazy, really scary stories or whatever you want, and it's free. I'm giving it to you. Just go to audibletrial.com/DMS. 2 free books, 2 free Audible originals, or 1 of each, and a 30-day trial for free. Cancel the next day, you keep the books. And Doomy's Home Cooking. Support your local restaurants, especially Doomy's Home Cooking. I went there last week. Dustin, listen to this. I had a vegan chicken cordon bleu sandwich.
Yummy.
And it was
vegan
so delicious.
Chicken cordon bleu.
It was delicious. I'm telling you, because everybody's been hyping this Popeye's chicken sandwich. And I tried it the week before I tried this vegan chicken cordon bleu sandwich. It was okay. The Popeyes was okay. The chicken cordon bleu sandwich blew it away. Bigger, tastier. I loved it.
I believe it.
You know, the ham didn't look like ham, but it tasted like ham. The chicken looked like a big...
Hey, that's what matters.
Had the texture. We got to take you to Doomy's, Dustin. You won't believe it. 1253 Vine Street. There's a Culver City restaurant probably closer to you, and also Toronto, Canada. So, you know, if for some reason we're all fleeing to Canada, we can go up there and get some Doomy's Home Cooking.
Oh, that would be nice.
Yeah.
Healthcare and Doomy's.
Yeah, you can get some vegan food. And we also have, if you go to I encourage everybody to our summary on YouTube or on the podcast catchers. Even if you're listening to this on radio, look it up on Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts, or YouTube. Check out the description because we have deals, and I'll be posting these on social media at Dark Mark Show. 20% off Hustler Hollywood. So get your dick pills, get your butt plugs, get your dildos, get your lingerie, whatever you want. We have 20% off Spy Associates. 20% off any order over $249. Get your GPS tracking. Get your cameras and your smoke detectors. Get all sorts of surveillance. See who's stalking you or stalk somebody. We get paid either way. So if you go to Spy Associates, there'll be a link in the comments. And if you're feeling sleepy or weary, do what I just did. Grab a case of Raze energy drinks. I've tried them all. I'll tell you, I've tried every energy drink.
Mm-hmm.
You see me drink energy drinks in the studio, Dustin. This is the best one. You can't get it at 7-Eleven. You can get it at GNC. You can get it in gyms. Or you can use our code, which will be in the description of the episode and also on our social media. 15% off a case. This is the Baja Lime flavored, which is just like Baja Blast at Taco Bell. Nice and cold.
You sold me with Taco Bell.
That is well, no, now you can get a Raze energy drink, and you'll be all pepped up. And I better get pepped up to match the energy of you too. So that's it for the sponsors right now. Dustin, a very exciting week last week. Apparently, you'll be adapting a Stephen King short story.
Yes, I am. The Woman in the Room, and we are in pre-production now for it.
Now, what book is The Woman in the Room, man? I'm not sure which one.
The Night Shift collection, like the best one.
Okay. How come that hasn't been done before?
It has been done. It's actually so this is interesting. Like back in the 80s, Stephen King started a program that was called Dollar Babies. And it's sort of defunct now, but the way it worked was he was providing an opportunity to film students where they could buy the rights to one of his short stories for $1 and make the movie and release it just to festivals. Well, so that sort of doesn't really go on anymore, but through the website still, I was able to get in touch with Webmaster, who put me in touch with him and was able to make a special arrangement for me as a filmmaker to do basically the same thing. So I got full permission we did all the paperwork, and I could do a film that I have the rights for 1 year and can play at festivals anywhere. So the point is to hopefully elevate my career with it, get it out there with my name attached to his.
Awesome. Congratulations. That's huge.
Thank you. I'm a nervous wreck about it because I want to do a really good job.
You will. You will. You always do.
So if somebody now, this is the worst time to have this type of deal, but a 1-year deal. But if somebody picks it up and it gets released to theaters and VOD, I'm guessing Stephen King gets a cut of that cash.
Basically, he's the deciding factor. Like Frank Darabont did The Woman in the Room as his first thing, and it's what launched his career, and he did it through the same program.
That's the director of Shawshank Redemption and The Green Mile.
Yeah. And so he directed it, and then Stephen King adapted it as an official release and ended up distributing it and putting his name on top of it. So I have the same potential to happen with this.
So you could be on your way to Oscar glory, just like Frank Darabont.
Fingers crossed.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And your the pandemic happened. Last time we interviewed you was right as the pandemic was happening. It was the last time we were in the studio, and I was the only one in the studio. Both of you couldn't make it, but you were there by phone. And that inspired you, and I'm sure other people, but I'm sure you have a unique slant on it, to do pandemic movies.
Yeah, I think at the last time I talked to you, we were getting ready to do maybe it was Hell of the Screaming Undead, which was our zombie movie. And then obviously the pandemic happened, and it lasted a lot longer than everybody anticipated. And so we did a movie that was called 5G Zombies.
I love that.
And what it was it was based on the conspiracy theories going on at the time about the new 5G service. And so we kind of played with that notion and had people self-film on their cell phone segments they sent us that we pieced together into a narrative with a wraparound. And so we created 5G Zombies, and it actually kind of got like a lot of attention, like a viral hit. And so we decided to make a sequel called Angry Asian Murder Hornets, which was then about the murder hornet craze on Facebook. And so, of course, that got more attention because we had giant CGI hornets in it. So then I was kind of like trying to roll with the headlines, because that's what they did back in the 70s with exploitation, was just what was happening. And so then there was talk about Ebola coming back and how scientists were trying to create a new dinosaur out of chickens, like chicken embryos. And so I was like, Ebola Rex is the next one. So we did Ebola Rex, which we just finished. And then we, right after that, did Arachnado. And Arachnado was a movie that I had planned before the pandemic as just a regular movie. And after the success of Ebola Rex, I decided to adapt it in the pandemic series. So we just finished that one, and that's tornadoes with flying spiders in it. And then we're going into production on the last. Yeah, it's crazy. And then
Yeah.
And so then now we're starting the last one, which is a Bolarex versus Murder Hornets, and we start that in like a month and a half.
Very cool.
And the other the other thing you've been doing a lot of Amityville, because you do like 5-6 movies a year at a slow year, but the pandemic has not slowed you down. You did an Amityville Clown House.
Yeah, so the thing that's about that, okay, so it's actually from 2017.
Oh, okay.
I did a movie, in 2016 called The Amityville Legacy, and then a movie in 2017 that was a sequel with Mark Patton, and that was called Amityville Evil Never Dies. And I did like a self-release of those, and then Wild Eye Releasing picked them up and they like basically restructured the film. They filmed some new footage and they retitled them and repackaged them. And now the first one's called Amityville Toy Box, and it just came out. And then the sequel,
Amityville Toy Box. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and then Amityville Clown House was part 2, and so that just came out yesterday. And so now we're officially beginning production on the third and final one called Amityville in the Hood.
Now, how do you get Amityville in the Hood? Because isn't Amityville its own place, and it's not the Hood?
Yeah. Okay, so here's the thing. It's very much inspired by like the 90s urban horror movies like Tales from the Hood. Mm-hmm. And so like it starts out with like these guys growing weed in the basement of the Amityville house, and it's like an East Side gang, and they get a showdown with a West Side gang who kills them and steals their weed and takes it back to California and Compton and distributes it on the streets, and it's possessed weed because they were growing it in Amityville house. And so everybody who smokes it gets possessed. And we have all these like
that's such a great direction.
Well, it plays on what we've introduced in the series, so far. We relate to things in it, and then we also mention all the other possessed items, and it's a silly way to kind of like keep it going with like the possessed objects, but we thought that this way we could really make it more expansive and make it here in California this way. And so we have a lot of like fun scenes with like the smoke turning to demons and people hallucinating and stuff. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Yeah, our friend the Satanic Rapper is going to be in that.
Yeah.
What's his stage name?
Marvin, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot his stage name, but he's got some weird stage name. Anyway, a lot of stuff happened for Dustin, but I want to do something different for this show because everybody's like, what's your show about? Do you have a theme? Do you have this and that? My whole thing is I want to get interesting people on and just talk about them, but apparently that's not good enough. So it's Halloween, so I said, how about Dustin and Hannah are two of the biggest horror aficionados I know. So I knew this was going to be good. And I'm not a huge horror fan, but I've got my favorites, some that stick with me. So we're all going to count down our 10 favorite horror movies. And I gave no criteria. So, but it's your 10 favorite horror movies, and we're all going to talk about them. And maybe we like the picks, maybe we don't. I guarantee some people will think I'm out of my mind with some of my picks. But Hannah, who do you want to start, or do you want to start? Number 10.
I don't have mine in a particular order because I was writing them down and I was like, wait, no.
Right.
And I was switching them around, so I'm just going to throw them all out there.
Well, you have your favorite, right? You have your one favorite.
You know what? I have to say my number one favorite now is The Terrifier because I've watched that about 20 times in a row and I'm fine. And I still am not sick of it. It just climbed to the top.
Haven't seen it. Please tell me about it.
The Terrifier about Art the Clown. They don't know what he is, if he's demonic, what kind of thing he is, what kind of being, but it's a very creepy, not very nice clown. So you're probably going to see something. You're going to see something in that movie. I always tell people that you've never seen before, that I've never seen before in any movie. And there's a scene in there. I don't know. I still don't want to tell you too much. Just go watch it. That's what I say. Go watch it.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to get a clown on for this month. We haven't had a clown since you've been co-host, and we used to have clowns all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I've dated clowns. I was going to go from 10 to 1, but since you did the 1, we'll do it the other way around, I guess. Dustin, what is your all-time favorite horror movie? We'll start at 1.
Okay, so I do have it in an order. You want me to say my number 1 movie?
Well, since Hannah went from her first, we'll go 1 to 10 instead of 10 to 1.
Okay. My all-time favorite horror movie is Halloween 3: Season of the Witch.
Really? That's interesting because there's a couple reasons for that. That's my number 10.
Oh, really? Cool.
And next week we're going to have Stacey Nelkin on the podcast.
Are you serious? OMG, that's amazing.
I'm serious. Now tell us why Halloween 3 Season of the Witch is your favorite horror movie.
Well, okay, so it's super stylistic. It's very atmospheric. It relies heavily on the soundtrack and the mood and the atmosphere, which I'm very big about with filmmaking. I think that it really encompasses everything that Halloween was at that time in the 80s, as far as like the nostalgia and the way that it was treated with advertising and just the way that people acted about it. And I thought that it was really ahead of its time, talking about like the effects of advertising on children, how like they could just create like a song that people could memorize and that would get kids to want something. And I thought that
so Halloween,
yeah.
Halloween. Can't get out of your head.
Well, and there's that crazy scene, obviously, when they're watching the Flashing Pumpkin, you know, where the snakes and the bugs come out, and it still today stands up as just an insane scene. And Daniel Hurley, who played Cochrane, is amazing. And obviously Tom Atkins and Stacey Nelkin. It's just a really underrated film. And it's funny because my whole life I've been championing that movie as my favorite film, and everyone's always hated it. And it seems like in the last 5 years, it's hip to like it. Everyone's like, oh, Halloween 3 is so cool. Yeah, I like that. And it's like, oh my God, nobody liked that before.
I know, I'm with you. I put it as number 10. Now, I debated whether I would put the original Halloween or Halloween 3 because on a filmmaking level, Halloween's better. It doesn't have the
yeah.
plot.
So Halloween is my number 3 on my list, just so you know.
All right, but just objectively, it's a better made movie. There's not as many plot holes. It's a little more suspenseful, and it makes more sense. But for some reason, every Halloween, I watch Halloween 3. It just sucks me in, and it just resonates.
Well, because of the atmosphere and the mood and everything. It just like it pulls you right into it.
Hannah, what do you think of Halloween 3?
I didn't really like it.
Did you always like it? Because I know, yeah, because what Dustin's referring to is when it was out in the 80s, it flopped hard.
Yeah, I never really cared for it. I just kind of just would sit there and just zone out. I could never really get into it. I don't know why.
You're not into it?
Mm-mm.
Well, Michael Myers.
Hannah, you're killing me. That is heartbreaking.
I'm sorry.
And I actually think Halloween 4 is underrated. I think that's to me, you could take the original 3 and 4, and you could throw out the rest of them. I thought I've said it before, the Halloween that came out last year sucked. And the rest of them have just been like, Halloween 2 is okay. The Rob Zombie Halloweens are okay. But Halloween 3 and Halloween, the original 3 and 4, I'll watch those. And the rest of them I could care less about.
Yeah, I've been watching them backwards, working my way to Halloween. And we just watched Halloween 5 2 days ago. And that's that's a bad one.
That one and the Busta Rhymes one. Oof.
Oh, that was bad.
Yeah, those are like the 2 worst. Like I've always hated number 8. Like I remember seeing it in the theater and hating it, and I've never been able to watch it since. Like I've tried twice to rewatch it and was like, ugh. I just shut it off right away. But part 5 I used to really like, and I feel like every time I watch it, it gets worse. It's like I realized last time there's no likable characters in it. And I'm like, this is just a bad movie.
Well, see, Halloween 4, the ending creeped me out.
Yeah.
The girl was the killer. And if Halloween 5 picked up on that, it would have been great, but no.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah. So the all-time scariest movie for me and is Invasion of Body Snatchers, the 1978 version.
Love that movie.
Jeff Goldblum, Leonard Nimoy. I saw it when I was a kid. Creeped me out. Still creeps me out. Just even thinking about it, I just get shivers up and down my spine. I've never seen the original 1950s version, which people say is really good, and I should. But I've seen the one that came out in the 90s. I saw the one with Nicole Kidman. None of them, just to think about that dog with the face on it. Ooh.
Well, I think it was made in an era that was just right for that.
Oh, it's just so creepy. And then, when the first time I saw it was with my mom on TV, and then we went to bed. 10 minutes later, she comes in and starts, and it was just,
ooh. That's cute.
Well, I was like 8 years old. I think I started crying. It was like, no, my mom actually is a bigger horror movie fan than I am. So that's my number one. So we've got the number ones out of the way. And Dustin, you love that movie, The Invasion of Body Snatchers, 1978.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that the Thing remake owes a lot to that movie because that came out 4 years after that movie, and that movie was just so chilling, and again, a very atmospheric and creepy tone to the whole movie. And that scene at the end, is it Donald Sutherland as the actor?
Yeah, Donald
Where
Sutherland.
he's just walking and he points and opens his mouth. It's just like, yes,
Oh,
great.
I mean, it's a great cast. Just Goldblum's in it. Nimoy.
Yeah, it's
Really
so spooky. I love it.
You ever see
The
that?
Faculty's a lot like it. The Faculty is like sort of an unofficial remake of it. It's very similar.
Yeah.
Faculty's better than the Cole Kidman one. You know, that was okay, but
It was all right.
Hannah, Invasion of Body Snatchers, you like it?
Haven't seen it since I was probably 6.
It's on Amazon Prime. Watch it. I might watch it tonight and get really creeped out just talking about it.
Okay. Sounds good. I'll watch it.
So since we're going in no particular order, go ahead, Dustin.
No, yeah, I was just saying it's super creepy.
Since we're going in no particular order, Hannah, what's another one of your all-time favorite?
I'm going to say American Mary.
What's that?
American Mary.
Okay, I thought you said Bachelor Party and somebody was saying going outside. I didn't quite hear.
American Mary.
What is that?
Mm-hmm. It's a movie about a med student, and she's broke, and she needs to figure out a way to pay her bills, and she figures out a way to pay her bills.
Anybody in it that I would know? Or is it really low budget?
No, it's kind of like an indie film. It has some people you might recognize from other movies, but no big names. It's a cute movie.
You know, you're incredibly cryptic, Hannah.
Dustin, do you know this one, American Mary?
I've never seen it, and I don't know anything about it because Hannah won't say anything.
Okay, so
Well, I should have come over and watch it with her.
All right, so this girl, she wants to be a cosmetic surgeon. She's running out of money in school, and her teachers are kind of just disgusting. She gets mixed up with like this mafia type dude and learns how to start making some money.
Huh.
Yeah.
That was better.
2012 film by the body horror film directed by Jen and Sylvia Saska. Body Modification. I'll have to check it out. American Mary. This is why we're doing this. I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Dustin and I are gonna. Well, we're all gonna come over to your house and watch it with Grandpa.
Okay.
How that goes.
Slumber Party.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Dustin, what's your number 10 film on your list? We'll try to go.
It was so hard to put it. Okay, so I guess technically number 10 would be Alice, Sweet Alice.
Ooh, I've heard of it, but I've never seen it. Tell us about it.
Okay, so it's Brooke Shields' first role when she was just a little girl.
Oh.
And it's the first horror movie I ever saw because my parents were into horror movies, and they had this little like shoebox of VHS tapes, and it had Alice, Sweet Alice, Night of the Living Dead, and Day of the Triffids, and Psychomania. So we used to always watch those movies. And Alice, Sweet Alice was so good and so creepy, and it's very Italian-American, like it's inspired by Italian horror films, but it's an American movie. And it's about a young girl that during her communion is murdered, and it's by a girl in a yellow raincoat and a mask. And so it's like a mystery thriller where you figure out who the killer is throughout the course of the movie, and it's got a twist ending, but it's incredibly eerie, and it has really crazy Catholic overtones, and it plays on that for the horror in the movie. So if you're into like scary religious kind of horror, like The Exorcist or something, you'd really like it, because it's also like with a giallo, like where it's like a mystery thriller trying to find out who the killer is.
Right. Were you raised Catholic?
No.
Nope.
My parents, I guess, are Christian, but I'm not religious.
Yeah. My pick has something to do with that too. But Hannah, you know Alice, Sweet Alice? Have you heard of
I
that?
do not. I've never heard of it.
Well, there's one you got to check out.
Ooh,
And,
it's creepy. It's a 70s movie.
Cool. I'm gonna make a little list here. It's like, oh, things to do in October.
These are good. These are good recommendations. Listen to the show, and you're going to be watching some really, really good horror movies. Now, I didn't put any of like the standards on my list that everybody would think. You know, The Shining, Exorcist, and all this stuff. My number 9 is actually The Exorcist 3, which I like better than The Exorcist. I've seen more times than The Exorcist. Once again, I know The Exorcist is a better made movie. It's a more influential movie. It's objectively a better made movie, but I tend to watch Exorcist 3 a lot more often. And I just watched it a couple weeks ago. Still scared the crap out of me. Brad Dourif, who was the voice of Chucky, plays the serial killer and is really, really creepy. And they've got this is another one like Halloween 3 now people are starting to come around to. And the jump scare where the nurse gets her head chopped off is finally acknowledged as one of the best jump scares of all time. You ever seen Exorcist 3, Dustin?
So about a month ago, I watched it for the first time.
Yeah. What'd you
because
think?
I'm a huge fan of the original, and I guess before I get into this, the original movie, I'm sure a lot of people know, was cut and recut throughout the first few years of its release. And so the common version we have now is like the third or fourth edit of the movie.
Right.
There was a version originally released to theaters that was the notorious version that was making people faint in theaters and freak out and throw up and stuff. I have that. It's actually color graded completely different. The sound mix is completely different. It's got scenes in a different order. It is terrifying, and people need to try and find that version on the internet, because if they haven't seen that one, they haven't seen The Exorcist.
But it's even different than the one that they came out with in the 2000 or 2001 where they added a couple scenes in.
Yeah. It's completely color graded different. It's like really like deep and green and grainy looking, and it's got like a mono mix that has extra sound effects that they took out of all future releases, and it's just like it's crazy different, and it overall has a really freaky tone. So people need to check that out. But so with part 3, okay, so I'd seen part 1 and part 2 and both versions of part 4, and I still never saw part 3. I finally saw the Shot Factory Blu-ray, and I have to say I was disappointed.
Okay. Hey,
only because I expected. I don't think it was meant to be an Exorcist movie, because it's called Exorcist 3: The Legion, and there's the director's cut, which is just called Legion.
Right.
And so I think that advertised as a standalone movie, like not as The Exorcist, maybe it would have found a better audience, because I went into it thinking Exorcist. Like there's someone's going to be possessed and it's going to have all the tropes from part 1, and didn't have any of that. It was a very like dramatic, talky movie, and I guess I just wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, it's actually probably more similar to Silence of the Lambs than Exorcist.
Yeah, definitely.
But I thought the performances were really good. I thought it was just creepy. It was directed by the guy who wrote The Exorcist, which is William Peter Blatty.
Yeah.
And Exorcist 2 was cut a bunch of different ways.
Yeah.
Exorcist 2 was one of the worst movies ever. But they did the same thing. They cut it like 4 or 5 times when it was in theaters. Yeah. Exorcist 3, they did cuts. Exorcist 4, they filmed 2 movies.
Yeah.
They're both awful.
This is a troubled series.
Yeah, it's time to give it. I never saw the TV show. People tell me it was good, but it's time to give it up. I don't know. The first Exorcist made enough money. You don't have to go back there. But you got to take it as a standalone movie, because I'm not. The Exorcist I saw, as everybody did, freaked me out when I was a kid, and it still freaks me out. But for some reason, there's something about, once again, like Halloween 3, there's something about Exorcist 3, just the creepy tone that pulls me in, and I really want to watch it. I think George C. Scott's great. I think Brad Dourif's great. I think the acting is really good, and I think it's really creepy. Hannah, you ever see Exorcist 3?
I have never bothered to see any of them after seeing the first one.
Okay.
I'm not really big into like exorcism movies because I'm very anti-religion, I guess. I've always been that way. And I just never found them spooky or fascinating. Well,
this is honestly, the best way to go into it is kind of when I went into it. I hadn't seen Exorcist in years, and I saw this, and I just saw it as standalone. I didn't see it as like,
I'll give it a shot.
Body count continues. Satan's going to kill more people. No, it's a different story.
I think it's interesting you say that, Hannah, because I'm obviously against religion as well, and I think that's actually kind of what I appreciate about this, is how in The Exorcist especially, they make religion the horror. It's like the way that the religion aspect is handled in it, I think, is what makes it so terrifying, because from like, I'm sure with you too, from our childhood, there's relatable instances with religious figures in our life, or people we knew that felt certain ways about religion, that makes it chilling to see how people in that state of mind would handle the situation.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So Hannah, and we can go off on religion all day, but I wasn't really raised in a religious household, and so I don't think I don't know if any of us really were, except maybe Hannah. But it doesn't. So I mean, it's. I'm not putting Exorcist 3 because of the religious imagery, although it's there. I just thought it was a very effective and creepy story. But Hannah, what's another movie on your list? Hopefully,
I like May, like the month May, May.
Yes, that's a great movie.
I think it's cute.
May.
Angela Bettis is so underrated.
Yeah.
Tell me
Have
about
you seen
May. I've never seen May.
May is about this. She's a cute girl, but she's different. She doesn't have any friends. She tries to make friends. It doesn't work out. So she tries to make her own friend with different body parts of people that she likes.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, it's really good.
Oh, okay. I gotta check that out.
Her boyfriend is
Jeremy Sisto.
No. It's Donnie Darko guy that's from Nowhere, the Greg Araki movies. James Duvall.
Oh, James Duvall. Yeah.
In real life?
No. In the movie, isn't James Duvall show up and she kills him? It's like one of the guys. It happens in the kitchen or something.
That was Jeremy Sisto with the curly black hair and the nice hands.
Oh, maybe. I'm probably confused.
You guys are masturbating to the wrong people. I think. I thought, yeah. I was getting confused. I thought it was the one with Nicolas Cage that everybody says is really good.
Mandy?
Mandy, yeah.
I haven't seen that yet.
That was a trip.
Was it?
Literally.
Is it worth watching?
If you're into really like slow burn arty films, it's great, but it's not for everybody. Like it moves at a snail's pace, but it's very artistic.
I don't know.
Slow burn.
Yeah, I mean, I struggled with that one. I'm not like in love with it, but I thought it was still well made.
Right. All right.
Yeah, I can't take Nicolas Cage at any speed, but that's just me.
Not even 60
Some people
seconds.
I know are very into him, but I guess I'm not one of them.
He sucks. I watched Adaptation last week, which is a brilliant movie on all levels except for him. Well written, well directed, great plot, great twists. He plays twins. They're exactly the same. It's just him doing his. He does nothing. It's the same character. And he got nominated for an Oscar. He sucks. But that's just. I don't want to get into that. That's just my bias. If people like him, they like him. Dustin, what's number 9 on your list?
So this was tough because it was kind of a tie between Dolly Dearest and Child's Play 2.
Dolly Dearest. What is Dolly Dearest?
It was like the competition that came out in 1990 or 91. It was the female killer doll. And it was sort of billed as like the original Chucky's Bride before they actually made Bride of Chucky. And so it was like the first killer doll ripoff movie that was mainstream and came out to theaters and stuff.
Hannah, do you know Dolly Dearest?
I do not.
Oh my God.
Tell us about
it. Is so good.
We're all going to need a weekend together.
We've seen Child's Play 2, and it's good. But tell us about Dolly Dearest. Now we're intrigued.
Okay, so Dolly Dearest is about a guy that moves his family to Mexico because he inherits a doll factory that's like now defunct. And so he has these dreams of turning it into a really lucrative business. So he takes his family there. Turns out it's like a rat trap and it hasn't been operated in years. And it happens to be right next to like a Mayan underground temple that there's like some people digging in it, and then it unleashes a spirit that then possesses multiple dolls. So it's not just one doll. The spirit runs between all of them in the factory. So like it's like Child's Play, but with like a bunch of Chuckies. So it's really good and really scary. Like it's taken totally serious like the first Child's Play is. So there's not like cheesy scenes at all. It's very straightforward.
Cool.
Is it better than...
I can't believe you guys don't know about this movie.
Is it better than Demonic Toys or?
Okay, see, I love Demonic Toys, but yes, this is way like Demonic Toys is a completely different league. That's like a cheesy B movie. Like this is straight up like as serious as the first Child's Play. Like you will watch it and be terrified. It's
what
really
about Doll Man? You ever watch that?
Yeah, that was cheesy too. It was good though.
Okay. I don't go that deep into the doll movies. I haven't even seen Blade the Iron Cross, which you worked on.
Yeah, and I was in that movie. It's
which
the
is
new
one of the Puppet Master movies. I've never seen any Puppet Master movies, and I got like 20 of them.
Well,
just watch a couple.
Yeah, the first two are actually really well-made, good movies. Like, I would recommend the first two. People like part 3 also. So, like, the original trilogy is kind of where it's at.
So it's like Hellraiser, like first 3. And then...
Yeah, the first 3. And then they started getting all different, starting with part 4 and on. So.
So number 8 on my list, and this is the last of the blasphemous sequels. There's going to be some people listening to this that are that will take umbrage to this one, but Psycho 2.
I love Psycho 2.
Psycho 2.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, I love that movie.
And Quentin Tarantino says Psycho 2 is better than Psycho, and I agree.
Yeah.
It's
not as slow.
Yeah. It's really suspenseful, from start to finish. Like, it's really good. It's got the tension of the first half of Psycho throughout, the whole movie.
Right. And I think the twist ending, I mean, it just... I saw Psycho, and I've seen Psycho, and once again, objectively, it's a terrific movie, but... and for the time, it was quite shocking. But what they did in continuing the story, and I thought Anthony Perkins was even creepier this time around. The one scene that gets me always is when he's talking on the phone, and Meg Tilly's trying to talk to him, and he's like, he's talking to, it's like, mother, you don't want me to kill her, do you? And she's on the other line. She's on the line. You listen to me. You hear me? Yeah. Hang up the phone. Yes, I hear you, mother. Like it's so good. And to think that he almost didn't do the movie, and they almost had Christopher Walken play his part.
They shouldn't have done 3 and 4 though. Those were terrible.
No. 3's kind of funny, but 4 is ridiculous. Well, and then they just kept spinning it off and doing TV shows, and it's like, yeah, I think But, people was, at the time, from what I understand, a lot of people were like, how dare you make a sequel to Psycho? But to me, it was just as good, if not better. And that's another one I watch a lot. So,
well, and it's a Universal horror movie, and it came out around the same time as Halloween 2 that they also made. And that was sort of like the bigger version of part 1. And, they got studio backing, and they made a really big movie out of it.
And once again, another, not just Anthony Perkins, but they, Robert Loggia, they had Dennis Franz, they had Meg Tilly. It was a great cast.
Yeah.
So that's one of mine. Hannah, once again, no particular order. What's another one of your movies?
I'm gonna go with. All right, I'll go with one of the usuals. Jason Takes Manhattan. I really love that.
What?
I love Jason Takes Manhattan.
Jason Takes Manhattan.
I love that one.
I've never seen it.
Oh, it's the best. It's my favorite. Ever since I was little, I have always loved Jason Takes Manhattan. I know it's not popular among, Friday the 13th fans.
He's in Times Square hacking people. Do you like that? What do you like about it, Hannah? Why is it so good?
It was kind of comical to me. They go to New York City, and it was in, you see punk kids, and then this guy tries to fight Jason on top of a building, and that's a really, really good scene. I don't want to say what happens, and...
Does he go to the top of the Empire State Building? I have no idea.
I don't know what building it was, but it was pretty tall. And there's a GIF too that they have from that movie where he kicks his big jukebox. It's funny, or whatever, those little boombox, a boombox.
Yeah, the jukebox.
Now I sound like a kid. I'm like, what is that?
And the ghetto blaster.
Ghetto blaster.
Yep. I love part 8
X when he goes to space.
I hate that.
Yeah,
nobody should go to space.
No, yeah, Jason, part 8, Hannah, I'm with you. And I gotta jump in with this because the Shout Factory Blu-ray box set is now coming out. That people have ordered or getting their copies now, and I'm involved in the set, and I've got some special features on there. But the main thing I did for this, and it ended up getting rejected by Paramount, is I put together a fully uncut version of part 8 that was supposed to be in the box set.
Oh.
And it's 7 minutes longer and has all these crazy scenes, and it's even better. It has a crazy ending on it and all the stuff people have never seen. And Paramount will not allow uncut versions of any of the sequels to come out. And so they also, anytime the fans are oh, I hope they put it out uncut this time, they should throw those dreams in the trash because Paramount will not release them uncut. They said that they will release them as deleted scenes, but they refuse to release the movies uncut.
No.
I know.
I want to watch that.
I have it. Obviously, I have a copy of it because I made it.
I was going to say.
It didn't get released.
So when you get the box set, it's going to be a lot of deleted scenes, but no, they don't.
Yeah.
And what's the rationale behind that? Just I guess because
I think there's a few things. I think that sometimes with scenes, there'll be like actors that were cut out and maybe they don't have the paperwork for them, or they were non-union actors, or they just don't think the effects were finished or looked good enough, or they didn't have a proper sound mix because the scenes were originally deleted. And usually for like a new release, they want to do a new mix of something. And if they're missing chunks of the mix, it will be out of sync on the Blu-ray. And so they can't even release it because of that, because they don't want to invest in a new mix. So it's a lot of BS, and I think that they could afford to do it. They just don't want to, because they've always sort of treated Friday the 13th like they're black sheep. Like they've always brutally cut the movies and, you know, kind of quietly put them out. And I think that they deserve better.
But what's the best feature that's on this box set that since you have the inside information?
There's a lot of really good features on it. Some of the stuff I gave them is like old TV spots that I had on VHS from like when it played on USA back in the 90s and stuff, and they have like, and so I have like all the old promos and bumpers for a bunch of them, so they're all on there. And I've got like I kind of have like a whole archive of Rare Horror stuff, so I have a lot of like Japanese trailers and, you know, trailers from Hong Kong and stuff in different languages and stuff that they never have been able to release before because they didn't have. And so I provided all of that that's on the box.
Wow.
Anything specific to Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan?
I don't, well, because I don't have the set yet in my possession, so
Okay,
I can't verify anything, but I know what I gave them, and so I guess you'll just have to pick up the box set.
Well, I guess we got movie night at Dustin's house. But by the way, what did you two? Since we're talking about weird spin-offs, what did you two think of the Friday the 13th TV show?
I didn't even bother.
I think, okay, so it's actually, because it's not about Jason at all. It's about an antique shop with cursed items.
Right.
And so it's like an anthology show, and each one's a different story. And I think there's a lot of really good ones. There's a one about a dollhouse that's super freaky.
Yeah, I've watched a couple of those on YouTube, and I thought they were pretty good.
Yeah, I think that it's mistreated because of the name and how it doesn't have Jason. Like Hannah said, they're like, I didn't bother.
Yeah, it has
but
nothing to do with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like one time I randomly saw one. I was like, what is this? And I was like, this is the Friday the 13th show. And I like totally fell in love with it.
Because the rumor was that at the end they were going to find Jason's hockey mask and track him down.
Well, and they do reference like his relatives and things that have happened within the series, but there's never directly Jason in it.
Go ahead, Hannah. I'm sorry, you were going to say something.
Gotcha. Awesome. I'll give it a shot. I'll look it up on YouTube tonight.
Yeah, it's worth it. There's some good episodes for sure. Like it's similar to Tales from the Dark Side. Like if you like Tales from the Dark Side, you'd like it.
Okay.
It's better than Freddy's Nightmares.
Yes, it's better than Freddy's Nightmares.
Are we at you? Oh yeah, Dustin, we're at you. Because we're talking about what's your number 7?
Okay, so it looks like Creep Show 2.
Oh, that was good. That's a good pick.
Been meaning to check that out because I see that that's on I think Tubi now.
Yeah, everybody always gushes about the original Creep Show, and it's a great movie, but I think Creep Show 2 is like more fun. Like Creep Show 1 has kind of a slow pace, and it's got like 5 stories. It's almost 2 hours long. What I like about part 2 is the wraparounds, and like it starts out live action, and then it goes into that cool 80s animation, and it's got a really fun wraparound story, and all 3 stories are very solid. They're all like hit the mark perfectly. I think the music in that is very awesome. It's very like 80s Stephen King and George Romero, like at their prime. So I think it's just, and people don't think of Creep Show 2 like a Stephen King, George Romero movie, but they really should, because it is.
Check that out. Hannah, Creep Show 2, are you watching?
Yeah, I like it.
It's super good.
It is. It's it's one of those ones you can just like throw on.
Yeah.
Any night of the week.
Yeah, it just flows. Like the music kind of is consistent throughout the movie. It just kind of goes right through it.
Yeah, and pretty much any company you have. Because when I have friends come over, I pick the most like screwed up movies for them to watch just to see their facial reactions. I can't talk tonight because I find it hilarious. But yeah,
so
that's a good one in mixed crowd.
Yeah,
my number 7 is not really scary, but once again another atmospheric sort of thing. And it is a vampire movie, and I had to put a vampire movie on the list. So I had to put my favorite vampire movie, and maybe the most goth movie of all time, The Hunger, on the list.
Oh.
Have you ever seen The Hunger, Hannah?
Yeah.
With David Bowie, Catherine Deneuve, and Susan Sarandon.
Mm-hmm.
Very 80s. It could be that movie can be more 80s if you tried. That movie is that movie. You can snort cocaine off that movie. Is 80, but it starts off with with Bauhaus singing and the.
Yeah.
You've seen that, Dustin, right? Tony
Yeah,
Scott.
no, it's a great movie. It's a classic.
I think so. The lesbian sex between Catherine Deneuve and Susan Sarandon, and David Bowie gets old, and it's creepy when he gets old and he tries to kiss her, and ooh, yeah. that is my favorite vampire movie, so that makes the list. Hannah, what's another movie of yours?
I'm gonna go with Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight.
Yes, love it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the one with Dennis Miller and Corey Feldman?
Uh-huh.
No, that's Bordello of Blood.
Oh, that's Bordello
Oh, okay.
of Blood.
Wait a second. What's Demon Knight? No, Demon Knight's Billy Zane, isn't it?
Yeah, Billy
Yes.
Zane. Because I had that on my list too, so now I'm gonna scrape it off. Sorry, I'm looking down.
Actually, they're both good, if I recall correctly. I haven't seen
them
in a long, long time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Demon Knight's super 90s. I love the soundtrack. It's got Filter and a bunch of cool badass fans on it, and it's just a fun, edgy, gory movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I do remember the series being great, the HBO series.
Always, yes.
I don't know. They did those two, and then that was it.
Weren't they supposed to redo Tales from the Crypt?
There's a third one nobody knows about. There's a third Tales from the Crypt movie called Tales from the Crypt Presents Ritual that came out in 2002. And it came out direct to DVD. Yeah, it's a voodoo movie, and most people don't even know about it.
I love voodoo movies. Hold on, let me write this down.
Yeah, it's so good. It's called Tales from the Crypt.
That's why we have you on, Dustin.
I had been following, because I was obsessed with Tales from the Crypt in the 90s. I knew everything about it. And they originally made the movie under the title Tales from the Crypt Revelations, and it was shot in Jamaica. And then when it finally got distribution, they released it here as Tales from the Crypt Ritual, and it's got a Crypt Keeper intro on it where he's got dreads, he's Jamaican, and it's hilarious.
Oh, how cute!
So good. I can't believe you didn't even know about it.
I didn't know about that.
This is why we're doing the show. But,
I'm so excited for tonight. I was like, oh, I have so much to watch.
And I got to tell you, my favorite voodoo movie, though, and it almost made the list. It's probably in the top 20 or 30. Was Serpent and the Rainbow.
Knew it. Yes, it's a great movie.
That's
such a great movie.
You ever see Serpent and the Rainbow, Hannah?
When I was tiny, and I don't remember it.
Watch it again. Yeah.
Okay, I remember my mom picked it up.
Scream. Yeah.
Well, and Bill Pullman really got hypnotized when he was making that movie. He was under hypnosis throughout a lot of it and thought he was really going through what he's going through in the movie. It's terrifying.
Wow.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, he, for a long time after filming, couldn't do anything because he thought he was still under the curse. And so there's a lot going on when you watch that movie, and you feel it when you watch that shit. It's freaky.
Well, Dustin, where were we at? Number 6? Where were we at?
Yeah, I think so. We're jumbling
through.
I guess I will go with Silent Night, Deadly Night 4.
Silent Night, Deadly Night 4?
The Initiation. It's starting with, it's kind of like the Halloween series where after part 3, it wasn't about a killer Santa anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So part 4 is about a coven of witches. And so it's a super freaky LA witches 90s movie.
I've seen that.
Yeah, it's so good. It's really, really, really underrated. It has Clint Howard in it as their sort of little minion that does all their bidding for them. It's really good.
Yep.
When are you going to have Clint Howard in one of your movies?
He is. Well, I interviewed him in direct to video, and he's also supposed to be in Hell of the Screaming Undead. He gets turned into a zombie.
Oh, okay, great.
That's awesome.
I figured he was going to, and in there. How do they do Silent Night, Deadly Night without Santa? I don't get it. How does the witches tie into it?
It was the same thing they did with Halloween, where they're well, let's just do a Christmas-themed horror movie every year. And so they hired Brian Yuzna, who did from a lot of the H.P. Lovecraft movies, From Beyond, and worked on Reanimator. He directed it, and he did 4 and 5 back-to-back. And he got Screaming Mad George, who did Nightmare on Elm Street 4 effects, a bunch of movies. He did the effects on it. So it's a super, gooey, gory body horror, kind of like a David Cronenberg movie almost.
Ooh.
I was going to say, was that the one that you did? But you did Silent Night, Bloody Night, not Silent Night.
Yeah, Bloody Night Part 2. And I'm doing Part 3 coming up in December.
Okay. Well, don't forget, Hannah's available when you're casting. She wants to be a horror stream queen so bad. It's been a year since you said, yeah, I might have something for you. And then you made 10 movies since then and nothing. But
And then the
I don't want to
pandemic
get
came.
Yeah, I think I was gonna have her in something before the pandemic, like right when that was starting.
right. No, I know it's a pandemic. It's the spider tornado that prevented it.
Oh, that's scary. Oh.
The Arachnado. Here's a number 6 on my list is once again maybe not classically a horror movie, but this one actually probably scares me more than as much, or not if not more than any movie on the list is Lost Highway from David Lynch.
Oh my god, I love it.
Ooh, and great soundtrack.
Yes.
Great soundtrack, but the movie, it's just so creepy, and there's a lot of horrific things in it. But the scene where Robert Blake calls himself on the phone,
Yes, that's so scary.
ooh, it just sends chills up and down your spine. I know he killed his wife, but he should have gotten an Oscar for that. I don't care.
Well,
If he showed that in the trial, he would have been found guilty.
no, for sure. And actually, it's funny because I just rewatched that maybe a month ago. It's one of my favorite non-horror movies. And I never, like most Lynch movies, it's a puzzle that you don't really understand on the surface. And so I'm always trying to like figure out what the hell the meaning was. And I finally understood the movie last time about how like he actually died. And then it was sort of like it went into a parallel universe of what could have happened. And it was like his ego, like the ID and ego battle.
Right. It was
And I
Mhm.
never understood
him on the
any of
electric
that.
chair.
Yeah, and then that's when it switches over into what he wanted it to be, which was like this charismatic guy that could get all the chicks, and he's sleeping with the guy's wife. Whereas before he was impotent with his wife and very soft-spoken and like a failed artist. And I never understood that that's what was happening when it switched storylines like that.
It took me a long time and a lot of internet research to figure the electric chair thing out. But and also the other thing that's creepy about it is people breaking into your house and videotaping you.
Yes, it was scary.
Like in '98 was
Then
like,
you're right. The part with the phone is terrifying, where he's like, "Call me." You're like, "Oh my god!" And he calls him. So scary.
give me back my phone. But and then the other one is people being videotaped in '98 was like, ooh, that can never happen. Now it's happening every day.
Yeah.
For
People
sure.
are watching you every day and watching your every move. Hannah, what's another movie of yours?
It's an extremely underrated movie, Strangeland.
Oh yeah.
With Dee
I'll go
Snider.
with
I
that.
love Strangeland.
And they were supposed to make a part 2 as well, and I guess it never
They
happened.
still are. According to Dee Snider, it's still happening, and I have insider info on that, so don't lose hope.
Okay, good. Yeah, I love that movie. I think it taught, especially me being a teenager, right when the internet was coming out a little bit, kind of taught you a lesson. You don't talk to weirdos, in cars or on the internet. And I think today,
Because
I think
we all
still
did.
stands
We all
up.
did
Yeah. Oh yeah, the party lines on the phone. And
Yeah.
Prodigy
and,
Cats, AOL Live.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's still a great movie today for people to watch.
Yeah, it was very
Yeah.
pre-Saw. It was like kind of the precursor to that, and it was perfect for the time with the chat rooms because literally, like me and my best friend were obsessed with that movie, Tara, and we used to, because we would do that. We would like go on these like sex chat rooms and make up fake names and fake profiles and just like fuck with dudes all the time. Like
Captain
I think
Howdy.
everybody- yeah, all these people did that. It's like this movie showed you what could happen.
Right.
No, everybody did that. I remember we were on an AOL chat, me and my friends, back in those days, and we had this girl, and she's like, "I like black guys," and we sent her a picture of Charlie Pride, the country singer, and we're like, and with the caption, "How you like me now?" Because she kept sending us pictures. She's like, "I want to see you." I'm like, "How you like me now?" She's like, "Yeah, you're fine." So, but no, Strangeland, you're right about the Saw. We've talked about this on the show before. I think we talked about it last year, but. Which is why I wanted to have these type of conversations. But Saw, to me, when I saw it, it was Strangeland meets Cube.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wait, Cube is another one that I almost put on my list because I really like that one.
That's a great one.
But yeah, Strangeland is a good movie. What's another movie on your list, Dustin? Number 5?
Last House on the Left.
Ooh.
The
good
original,
choice.
I'm assuming.
Yeah, the original. To me, it is why I make movies. Like that movie was so achievable to me when I saw it for the first time. I'm like, wow, I could totally make a movie like this. Like this is just the people he knows. These are like people's backyards. Like this ice cream shop is the shop down the street that they're in. Like it is so inspirational for so many reasons to me. And I also think it's just a very good, kind of like Strangeland. It's like a lessons learned kind of movie. And
Yeah.
I love those kind of horror movies because I think for the time, there was it was pre-internet. And so that was like paranoia of like getting kidnapped. And, you know, if you go to buy drugs from the wrong side of the tracks, you know, bad things will happen. And it's perfect. It's like perfect in every way for that. And I love it. And it's another one I just rewatched and it still holds up, where like that scenario could still happen totally today.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in a long time. I got to watch it again. I saw the remake, but I haven't seen the original in a long time.
The remake wasn't bad for a remake, but it's not anything like the original. The original works because it's like Texas Chainsaw one, where it's like so raw that's what makes it work. Like when she pees her pants, that actress really peed her pants, and they would never do that in the remake.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think what they would do in the remake. She'd squirt if it was a remake.
Well, they'd spend the money and have like a tubing and all that, you know. And it's like
you can't make an actress pee her pants unless you're on a Dustin Ferguson set. But anyway, I knew this was going to be a lot of fun and it was going to go by real quick. I'm going to just rattle off the rest of them on my list one by one. And if you guys want to chime in on any of these, let me know.
Okay.
Number 5. The only old movie I have on my list, Carnival of Souls.
That's a good one.
It's from the 60s. It's not really scary by modern standards, and it's a little corny. But if you're in the mood, and it's late at night, it'll suck you in.
You know what? I almost put that on yesterday because they have it on AMC right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I read it and I'm like, oh, this sounds cool.
It is really good.
It was the first zombie movie, really. Like Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
They basically took the zombie, the design of the zombies from Carnival of Souls.
Well, and it's very artistic. Like Carnival of Souls, it's similar to Night of the Living Dead, where it's got like the music throughout it, and it's really atmospheric and moody and pulls you in. But like, it's just super artistic too. There's a lot of really great shots in Carnival of Souls. Like it's trying to be an art movie, and I really appreciate it for that.
And I did a show in Utah a couple of years ago. I did a YouTube video at the Saltaire Amphitheater.
Ooh,
I guess it's not the original one that they did, but I guess that they tore it down and they got another one. But the Saltaire place is really creepy. It's this place right in the middle of Utah where they have a lake, but it's all, instead of sand, it's all salt. It's all white.
Oh, crazy!
It's pretty creepy. Yeah, it's really interesting. So that was my number 5. Number 4 is Alien.
Classic.
Scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. The original Alien.
Yeah.
I wouldn't eat eggs for like probably a year after seeing that movie. I was freaked out. But a classic. I mean, just it's probably, as far as a science fiction horror movie, there's been a lot of them. Nothing even comes close.
Yeah. It still stands the test of time.
Yeah. And number 3, and I just watched this last night, and this is probably one of the, to me, this is the only movie that they actually did a remake of that worked, because it was completely different, is Maniac.
That was great. Both of them were great.
Yeah, but the original Maniac is what I'm talking about, with Spinell. And he's a guy who was a bit actor, was in Rocky and Godfather and all these other movies, and he wrote this movie, and it's really creepy and really gross. And then the remake with Elijah Wood, I thought was the only one that was, of all these remakes of Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, this is the only one that actually did something different and was good.
Have you heard of a movie called Murder Set Pieces?
No.
That's the unofficial Maniac remake that was made in 2005, and it is even crazier than the original movie. Has Tony Todd in it, actually. He works at a porn store in the movie, and it's the same plot, only it's like a German-American actor that's very sadomasochistic, and he just goes around in New York and picks up, and I think it's maybe in Vegas in the movie, and he picks up prostitutes and brutally murders them, and he has a mother complex, and it's almost the exact same plot, and it was released under the title Murder Set Pieces. But the thing is, the version that came out is cut by like 20 minutes. And so really the only way to see the proper good movie version of the movie is to track down like a bootleg, essentially.
And you have that bootleg.
Yes, of course. And because the bootleg leaked before the movie itself did, so of course I saw it first that way. And then when the movie came out, I was like, what the hell is this? Like, it came out to Blockbuster rated R, and they cut literally like 22 minutes from the movie and completely re-edited it. So it's not, I can't even watch it. It's a completely different movie. But if you like Maniac, the original, you would love Murder Set Pieces.
I'll check that out. So they remade it well twice.
Yeah, basically.
Well, then Blockbuster was the antithesis to horror movies. And my number 2, I guess drum roll since I already did my number 1, is Phantasm.
Great movie. Classic,
I love
too.
Phantasm. I love the balls. It was
all of them. I love all of them.
Hannah, Phantasm, you dig it?
I've never seen it.
What?
Yep.
Of all these movies that you
Never
haven't
seen it.
that's the one to start with.
It's a very intelligent horror film that's very well crafted. Like, if you like really good 70s intelligent horror, it's perfect.
Okay, sounds good. I have a whole list here. Like,
Yes, start with Phantasm, and then there's 4 other Phantasms to go.
Yeah, they're all
Are
good
they worth
too. They're all
it?
made by
Okay.
the same people. It's like the same actors, same directors, same producers. So they're like, it's like Lord of the Rings, but for horror. So if you like the original, you would love the other 4.
Okay.
And so, Hannah, tell us what are the other movies that you have on your list that we hadn't talked about?
I'm gonna go with Return of the Night of the Living Dead Part 3. I think it's very romantic.
Yes. It's the best one in the series.
Everybody says 3 is the best one. I've never seen any of them.
You gotta watch number 3.
Yeah, 3's so badass. It's a bad. She has to torture herself to feed off her zombie hunger so she doesn't eat her boyfriend. It's so good.
And she's sexy. Yeah.
Yeah, she's super badass. It's a great movie.
So I've seen Night of the Living Dead. I've seen Dawn of the Dead. I've seen Day of the Dead. I never saw Return of the Living Dead.
You're missing out.
I guess so. All right, and I start with 3, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and 2's great too. You can always do that.
2 is the same people that worked on Michael Jackson's Thriller video, so it's the same zombies, and they even have a Michael Jackson zombie appearance in that movie.
Oh, I'm gonna have to go back. I've never seen that. Huh.
Yep.
Is it really right? Is it really Michael Jackson?
No, it's a lookalike. They have him in the red Thriller jacket and everything, and he's doing a moonwalk in the shot.
And what else do you have, Hannah?
I'm not gonna go with Night of the Demons, the original.
Yeah, that's great.
Tom Atkins.
And then the number 1 movie that still scares me to this day, and I couldn't sleep alone for the longest time, was Fire in the Sky.
Ooh, that's a scary alien movie.
That's a UFO movie, right?
Yeah.
Based on a true story.
They say. Well, of course, they've had aliens. They confirmed them this year that they're real.
Yeah, like pretty much flat out now. They've just said aliens are everywhere.
And, yeah, I mean, there's so much other crap going on. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. It's like and.
Because last night's debate, honestly, was very close to making my top 10. But it's not really a movie. So we can put it on. So, Dustin, we're going back to you. What are the other movies that were on your list that we haven't talked about? And
okay, I feel like somewhere in the upper numbers, I skipped over Legend of Boggy Creek because it's super terrifying.
What is that?
Oh, it's a true story movie. It was made in 1972. It's about this area of Falk, Arkansas, where for a period of 2 years, the farmers and local community were having their livestock attacked and actually personally attacked by a Bigfoot type creature. And so they dubbed it the skunk ape because it had a foul smell. And so throughout years, it was happening in this rural area. And so they made a movie about it, and they used the real people to play themselves in the movie. And so it's so good because it's shot in 72 with the hillbillies of the small town in the South. And they're talking about the skunk ape and how he's killing their cows and all this stuff. And it shows everything and where everything happened. And there's real footage of things. And it's so good. So scary.
Legend of Boggy Creek. I'm checking it out. Hannah?
Me too. I'll check it out. I know the story, but I've never seen that movie.
Okay.
Oh, it's so good. And they just remastered it on Blu-ray a year ago. So we're watching on Blu-ray.
I don't have a Blu-ray player. Should I get one?
Yeah. If you want to see films in the best way possible, I think it's worth it.
Is it that much better than DVD? I mean,
it's 4 times better quality.
Okay.
If you have a widescreen TV, yeah.
Because I keep feeling that it's like how CD's better than records, and then 30 years later, oh no, records are better than CDs. It's like they're both fine.
Well, see, what sold me on Blu-ray, because I was kind of the same way I still have mostly DVDs. I usually just get DVDs.
Right.
But what sold me on Blu-ray was remastered versions of movies, like when they would do the 2K and 4K remasters, because, a lot of horror movies would have bad prints back in the 70s where like the tape's all murky and dark and you can't see shit. And then you see this remastered Blu-ray and it's literally night and day. And for me, that's worth it. It's like, now I get to see what you're supposed to see.
But then sometimes they want it to be dark and murky. And then when they remaster it, it's not dark and murky anymore.
If it's a shitty movie, you want it to be dark and murky.
No, I mean, I've heard some people say that sometimes there's things that you're not supposed to be saying that now you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that. I mean, I felt that way about the original Texas Chainsaw because I grew up watching that on VHS, and it's super dark. And when the DVD came out, I was like, whoa, like you can see everything. But now, of course, that's my preferred way to see it because you actually see everything.
Right. And what are some the other movies on your list? And
Okay, I'll power through them here. House, Thousand Corpses.
House of Thousand Corpses, which is better than Devil's Rejects.
It is. It's the best one. I think it's Rob Zombie's best movie. It's a masterpiece, and a lot of people don't even know it was a 90s movie because he started making that in 1998, and it just didn't come out till 2003. So it's like the last 90s horror movie, and it's excellent. I just love it. I could go on about the movie forever. The original Halloween is the next one on the list because I'm kind of at a tie with, it's like the last three are all ties. Like Halloween, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Halloween 3 are to me like just my three favorites. Just because Halloween to me is like sort of, even if like I've seen it, I've probably seen it literally something about that movie is like you use the term, it pulls you in. Like every time I start it, I just sit there and I watch it. I'm so in love with it, and the simplicity of it works so well. And it launched an entire genre of films, of slasher films. And I think that even by today's standards, kids will still watch Halloween and be terrified with the original movie because it's just so good.
It's true. And unfortunately,
same thing
Donald
with Texas
Pleasance passed away.
What's that?
Donald Pleasance passed away because he to me was a big part of why that movie works.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's got all the right elements. I think it hits. It's relatable to people that grew up in that time for how Halloween was for us and like the small town attitude and mentality. So I think it has just a lot going for it that people really can connect to.
And Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah, and Texas Chainsaw 1, it was the first movie I bought with my allowance when I was like 8 years old or some shit. My mom took me to a flea market and I had like $10 in my allowance saved up. And it was between Texas Chainsaw or Halloween. And I'd seen Halloween, but I had never seen Texas Chainsaw, and the cover was so scary for it. I was like, oh my God, I gotta get this one. And my mom, nobody would watch it with me. And so I watched it alone in the basement by myself that day. And we had this really shitty, like old tube TV with like one speaker on it. So it was like that bad mono speaker. And it like is so high pitched when Sally's screaming throughout the whole second half of the movie that it gave me a headache. And I remember I went to bed that night and I was like, oh my God, I got this bad headache from all the screaming and the chainsaws. And there's a guy revving up his motorcycle like down the street, terrified the shit out of me. And I thought Leatherface was coming for me. And ever since then, every year, like clockwork, I had a reoccurring nightmare about Leatherface chasing me in a gas station in the middle of nowhere that lasted for like 15 years of my life.
Wow.
So it left an impact on me. And of course, it's one of my favorite movies, and it's inspired everything I do from Meat Hook Massacre to just about everything else.
And it just hit me that Strangeland and House of a Thousand Corpses were filmed about the same time.
Yeah, they were.
Yep.
They were made the same year. They just they got distribution right away for Strangeland. Rob had distribution set up, and it was first with Universal, and then it was with another company, and then finally Lionsgate is the one that ultimately put it out. So that was supposed to be put out years before. Right. And I wish that it had, because not everybody knows House of Thousand Corpses that came out is drastically different from the version he made. The movie that he made is 105 minutes long, and the one that came out is 88 minutes. So 17 minutes was cut from the movie. Scenes were entirely changed. What people don't know is that Grandpa is Dr. Satan. They reshot all the scenes and added a Dr. Satan scene with a different Dr. Satan. And the original review was Grandpa was Dr. Satan.
Oh, Grandpa should have been Dr. Satan.
I was going to say, Have you seen the original? I'm assuming that you
Yeah,
have.
so I of course, because I collect bootlegs and all this crap with horror movies. I had early versions of the movie that have some of the scenes intact, and I had the ending originally. Jerry, you can see some of it on the DVD bonus features. They slip little snippets in from the scene, but Jerry actually gets his brain eaten by zombies instead of Dr. Satan. So like when he goes down there, the zombies all pull him out. Then it cuts to later he's in like a cavern and they're all just munching on his brain. And she sees him and screams and is chased throughout the whole cavern, and she never finds Dr. Satan. And instead of the pink Cadillac at the end, it's a white van that Spaulding's supposed to be driving, and he grabs her and throws her in the van.
Wow.
Oh, and the end, you don't see it. They zoomed in on her eyes, but they're supposed to show they ripped out her heart. Like, and that's what the end shot is that they're showing her heart to her, but you don't see it on the released version.
Because that's the thing about that movie, and I got to watch it again. And it's been a while since I've watched it, but I was like, this is great up until like maybe 15 minutes, and then you could just tell the last 15 minutes are so choppily, badly edited.
They completely had to they changed the whole, and that's why I have an issue with what happened, because he tinkered with it too long, and that happens with artists when they play with their movies for too long in editing.
Right.
They keep messing with things and changing things, and then 5 years later, it's a different movie, and so his original intentions with it are lost. Like, he made a straightforward Texas Chainsaw style movie, and by the time it came out, it was a giant music video because he had completely re-edited it and added all the music and the flash scenes. None of that stuff's in the original version. It's a straightforward movie.
I mean, you could tell they have like that weird, like jittery slow motion.
Yeah, they do the
whole scene
filters and
the
they invert it. Yeah, and slow-mo it and all of that. That was all done 5 years after the fact.
Right. I actually think Lords of Salem is his best movie, but that's just me.
I love that movie.
What did you guys? What about Three from Hell? What did you guys think about that?
I liked it. I thought it was better than Devil's Rejects, to be totally honest.
I honestly did not. I didn't like it.
Why didn't you like it?
I don't. And once again, maybe I got to see it again. But Sid Haig, and this is nobody's fault, but he wasn't the main part of it, right. And I didn't think that. To me, what makes House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects so good is that Bill Moseley is so frightening. Mm-hmm. And I thought in Free from Hell he wasn't as frightening. He was a little too jokey, and the brother guy didn't really. I'll tell you what. Who I thought gave the best performance, even though it was a small role, was Richard Edson. The guy was he was in Ferris Bueller's the guy who takes the car and drives around. Mm-hmm. He played a small role. If he played the third brother instead of the guy that they had played the third brother, if they switched roles, I think it would have been a better movie, because I thought the guy who played the third brother was not good at all. The guy from 31, I didn't like him.
Yeah, I'm not huge on that actor, like, for sure. Like, I totally get what you're saying with that. I think with me with that movie was I didn't, like, when Devil's Rejects first came out, I loved it. I saw it like twice in the theaters. And then the more I watched it, the more I disliked it, because it just kind of felt sleazy and like too much. Like, he was trying to be very in your face. And I thought that it would have benefited from being a little pulled back. And so when I went into Three from Hell, I was expecting just another Devil's Rejects, and it was actually surprisingly restrained. I thought it was like the happy medium in between the first two movies. Like, it had a little Devil's Rejects in it and it had a little House of Corpses in it. And I think that's why I liked it.
I like what they did with Baby's character, because she wasn't such like a bimbo. I couldn't stand her before. Good. Now she's so like super nuts, and I like that. But the one thing that bothered me, I know he likes to set all his movies in the 70s, but they were in prison so long. Could you have brought it into the 80s with the costumes?
No, right. Everything's happy 70s for them.
Yeah,
they wanted the president in 1970. They came out in 1979. You can't not do it.
No, I agree. I totally agree. But I have to say, I thought, and I have to give props, because everybody trashes Sherry's acting in all the movies. They're like, oh, he's always putting his wife in it. She's terrible. Mm-hmm. I thought she was really good in this. Like, she was the star, and she like really put her A game in this movie, and it shows. Like, she's great. Mm-hmm.
She is.
Yeah, I was like, damn, like, that's the same actress. Like, she's good.
I mean, yeah, her eyes, everything was crazy. She just completely embodied that character.
Yeah, you really if you didn't yet, that movie makes you fall in love with her character.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought she was good, but I thought it was at the expense of everything else.
Yeah, well, I think the movie was
the brother bickering was not
right.
Yeah.
I think the movie is a result of circumstance, because I think he, with Sid Haig passing and all the stuff that was going on, I think it just went through a lot of last minute changes, and maybe it would have been different if it was a year earlier.
Then I didn't like 31, and Hannah loves it. So what am I gonna do?
I hate 31. Oh my God, I can't stand that. I tried so hard. I fall asleep. I never fall asleep in movies, and I fall asleep to that movie twice.
Aww.
I want to like it. I do. But I think it starts out too slow. It starts out with that long monologue, and I think that's the worst way to start a movie.
Although that monologue is with our friend and former guest, Daniel Roebuck. So, but yeah, it does go on way too long.
It does.
But
It
anyway,
really does.
and I don't want this show to go on too long. I thought this was great. I had a lot of fun.
I did
you,
too.
Hannah?
Yeah, I had a blast.
And you got so many movie recommendations now. Dustin, tell everybody what you're working on and how they can get a hold of you and your movies.
Okay, so yes, we're starting production on Amityville and the Hood next. After that is Rattlers 2, followed by Ebola Rex versus the Murder Hornets. You can follow me on Facebook. I am the only Dirty D on Instagrams, or I have just a public Facebook profile, and my company is SCS Entertainment. We have a DVD web store and a streaming service. Just do a Google search and you'll find us.
And get scared.
And get scared.
And Hannah, go to listen to Hannah's other podcast, Vegans Uncensored.
And
Mary
then you
Zane.
can, yep, me and Mary Zaint. And then you can catch me on Instagram and TikTok at HailHannahBox666.
Is TikTok still a thing? I thought they banned it.
No, it's still there.
A couple more months.
Are you twerking on it? Or what's going on with that?
No, I'm actually on lesbian TikTok with all these like hot girls with a bunch of tattoos. I just look at them all day. I don't know why I'm on that stream, but I am.
So you need to make a TikTok movie. And Goth Comedian on all social media. Everybody have a wonderfully creepy week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.